Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Konner. Jeremy Konner, co-creator, pioneer, a visionary, started Drunk History with his partner Derek Waters.
We just all
online.
We all just talked to all of them. Yeah. I just did the Drunk History.
Oh, we're doing another period now. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Konner, the director of. Can I brag about him for a second?
Please do.
Okay, what I'm not sure anyone knows is that Another Period is 10 episodes. We shot 35 days. So each episode is 3.5 days worth of film. Jeremy directed every single episode. We were shooting every single episode concurrently. So we were doing scenes on one day. We would do scenes from episode 6, episode 1, episode 10, and he had to direct all of it. This is not been done. No, never in television does a director direct an entire series. Has this ever happened?
True Detective.
Did they do it on True Detective? I don't think so.
Yeah, they did. But you know what
Did they get
didn't
3.5 days per episode?
No, I think they had more. They had more than 3.5 days per episode.
What this guy's done is like unprecedented, though.
Well,
I'm going to
was
go
so-
on record and say that.
I appreciate. Well, you were doing so as well.
But I didn't have to
Well, what was so?
direct everybody
Yeah, but
every day.
But you also did. But what you did have to do was there would be days where we were shooting in a room. We would do One Direction episode 3, 5, 8, 9, and then we would turn around, and then you would have to do the same episode 3, 5, 8, 9 from the other side.
Right.
And you'd have to actually get like your emotional.
You'd have
to go do so many different scenes per day. I don't know.
And it was one of the best times I've ever had in my life.
How do you keep track of that? Do you just have like notes and like tons of scripts lying around?
We have like little tiny sides.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
This big, and they're we're hiding them in our girdles, and you pull it out and take a look and wing it. I hope you can get through it.
Well, such a obviously talented comedic group of actors in there. Was there a lot of room for ad-lib and improv? And how much stayed in?
There's a ton of room for it. I mean, we always did it, but a lot of times what ended up in the final product was the scripted lines. But it depends on, it just depends on the scene. But the scripts were strong.
Yeah, what they wrote was so funny. It wasn't like, oh, I want to pitch a different line. We were all so happy with what we got to say and do. Yeah, there would have been room for it, but I don't feel like anyone. I feel like Rich Fulcher, who plays Mark Twain, did a lot of improv. Just because he wouldn't have a line, and if there wasn't a line, Mark Twain just walks in the room. So Fulcher vomits in a plant, and then says, "Oh man, Rivel," and then walks to his chair like a dog. Was that scripted? I feel like he did a bunch of stuff that is so hilarious to me.
He had a lot of improvised lines.
Yeah, but it was only because you have someone as great as Rich Fulcher, and a lot of the times it was like, we don't know who's coming in, who's going to play what. I mean, it was really crazy that you were able to keep everything together, and last minute going, oh my God, who's going to play? We got to get Angry Gandhi. Who's going to play Angry Gandhi? So he didn't have lines written into the script that day. That's the only reason why he did a bunch of improvised lines, was because people were like, well, we got Rich just, and Natasha's in her costume on stage yelling out, Rich, just say something. Just do something.
He's great.
Yeah.
I know we're only in season 1, but if and when you get to season 2, it's called Another Period. Is there a chance you could actually go to a different time period and kind of pull like that American Horror Story type of...
Or the Blackadder.
Sure.
It's been discussed, but I think if we did, I think we would stay. I think we would just continue where we leave off.
Characters and stories.
Plain dodo.
We love this time period. And I think when you get to the end of the season, you'll see how there's some. I think you want to continue right where you leave off.
And why this time period? And then why the mashup with this time period with the reality TV show format?
I mean, this is the Gilded Age, and it was really. It wasn't the very beginning of the Gilded Age. It was, but it also wasn't. Yeah, I mean, it was really smack in the middle. and people were just living so disgustingly. And there was no income tax yet. That didn't start till 1913, I think. So people could just spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on these crazy mansions and have them built in Italy and disassembled and shipped over and reassembled. And so it was just so funny. I mean, that was all Natasha and Ricky coming up with exactly when this was, and this all came from Natasha going on this house tour in Newport, which
I think it was, they'll tell you the origin of it, but I believe what happened was Natasha and Ricky were like, hey, we should write something. We just want to do something fun and be girls. We don't want guys telling us what to do. We should write something. So they get together, and I think Natasha said, well, I have one idea that's like making fun of the Kardashians, and then I have this other idea I'm kind of interested in, Newport in 1905, and I think Ricky was like, what about putting those together? And they both were like, great! So they go to Newport, and they started studying. They started reading everything they could get their hands on, and found out that, a lot of the things that happened in another period seemed like comedic, hilarious, absurd. They were things that really happened at that time.
Guys, we're gonna switch tables.
okay.
So they, and then came to you.
Yeah, and we made a presentation a couple years ago, actually, and then it took a while to get that sold, and then we made a pilot, and then we finally got the series.
When you have a character named Dodo Bellicourt just handed to you, do you already have an idea of her just from the name alone, like an image brewing in your head?
Yeah, well, part of it was Dodo is based on a real Newport 1905 woman that they researched who was so wealthy that she moved houses, like had a 14,000 square foot mansion that was too close to the ocean, so her hair was frizzing. So I think she moved this entire mansion inland or something, like millions and millions of dollars so that her hair would stop frizzing. That's absurd.
And kept that.
Yeah,
She would move
she
it
kept
farther.
moving to keep her hair flat. But it's. I mean, I knew that I was going to do like a riff of like a Maggie Smith. And if we're all American, then I wanted to do a slightly British accent.
But also
and it's
you're
actually
Sadie.
Mid-Atlantic. It came from Sadie. Yeah, that Mid-Atlantic like faux English accent that people were like Madonna.
Sorry, Madam. Thank you.